Welcome to Radio Fixer's channel. Subscribe for upcoming videos. Welcome back to the restoration of this very unique 1965 Masters Art AM telephone style radio. In the first episode, we focused on identifying this rare radio and trying to determine whether it could actually be repaired or restored without having the schematic. If you have not seen part 1 yet, I highly recommend watching it first so you can follow the full restoration journey from the beginning. In this second episode, the real troubleshooting begins. We carefully inspect the radio, reconnect cut and damaged wires, and try to identify what parts may still be missing after all these years. Using a signal tracer, audio signal injector, and multimeter, we began testing different stages of the radio in hopes of bringing it back to life. Stay tuned, enjoy the video. And to make your job easier to find all these videos per category, select playlist, and each categories are located right here. Also, I have added every tool product that I'm using in the description section of the video, so feel free to check it out. As you know, majority of the old radio, it comes with non-polarized plug. What that means, you see they're same size, you see that? So the problem with this is when you hook it up to hose plug, you don't know which side it goes to the switch and which side to the chassis. For safety, I always replace them because I want to make sure the hot always goes to the switch and neutral always goes to the chassis. So I replace it with something like this. This is polarized. These are different size. See that? So when you plug this to the hose plug, this is always neutral, goes to the chassis. The small one, this one, always is hot. This always goes on and off switch. Some of the wires, they actually mark them to tell you which one is hot and which one is not. See, here has some writing on it. See, this one is hot, but I always double check. What I do, because I want to mark them, is this thing so hard to see, they're so small. I get my multimeter, put it in the sound position right here. Then when I put in the small side or the hot side, then if I touch this wire doesn't sound, that means that's neutral. If this I touch, it should make sound. You see that? It means that is hot, alright? So what I do to remember, get a highlighter, right here I highlighted as well red. So I know this is hot, because again, this is so hard to see. Anyway, yeah, you always want to do that. The hot side goes to the on and off switch. Always you want to do that for safety of others, alright? Hopefully this will help you as well. Alright. As you see, I hooked up the power cord right here. One side, the hot side, comes all the way here and is soldered to on and off switch right here. The neutral from here comes to the power tube, which is 35W4. It hooked up to pin 4. I actually document all those here. Let me show you. Hopefully down the road I can make the schematic for this. So this is where the neutral is hooked up to pin 4. There's a line between 4 and 5. And hot side of the power cord, of course, you're hooked up to the on and off switch right here. As you see, currently I draw about 2 pages under the chassis. This one, it shows all the capacitor and resistors. In the second page, it shows the wires, even the color of the wires, how they connected. I'm trying to document as much as I can, and hopefully I can make some type of a schematic for this radio. After many hours of search online, and with Gary's help as well, I was able to find this schematic. As somebody create this for the Masters Art model RT200, but the problem with this is this one has two transformers. As you see, one is here, another one is here. So it seems that this radio was produced in two different versions. One offered two transformers, another offered one transformer. And unfortunately for mine, we do not have any schematic. So that's why I start working on my own. And hopefully I can pull that together soon. Anyway, just want to show this to you. If you need a copy of this, feel free to let me know and I will be glad to send it to you. Let's remove the old capacitor from this container. I'm going to install the new capacitor inside this. As you know, there's a two capacitor inside here. One is 50 microfarad, another 30 microfarad. So let's take this out. Usually this is what I use. It's pretty cheap soldering iron. So let it heat up pretty well. Sometimes you need a screwdriver, something like that, sometime. Of course, the gloves so you don't burn your hand. Since this gets messy, I'm going to wrap it here with a paper towel so my gloves doesn't get dirty. Let's see if this is hot or not. So just you melt these things out, that's all I'm doing. I'm taking whatever, I think this is a beeswax. It takes a little time, but it's okay. I do not like to put this in microwave or toaster oven, So I'm going to heat up this side and other side, trying to remove the beeswax so I can get to the capacitor. As you see, I removed all the beeswax as much as I could. This is where the capacitor starts. I get a screw like this. Okay. Now I can turn this around like that. I'm going to heat up the top. Meanwhile it's getting hot, I'm going to press this down. What this screw does, it pushes the capacitor through. Okay, let me show you. Usually this capacitor, just there is one side you can do this. This is for one reason or another, both sides has a beeswax. Yeah, you can take some of this out. Same thing with the other side. Again, majority of capacitor, just one side is like that. The other side, is a cap. Be careful you don't damage the cardboard. Of course, if you get damaged, you can build another one. I have a video I'm going to add up here how to actually create one of these canisters if you cannot save it. So see, I'm keep heating it up and pressing it down like that. Alright, this is out. See, inside is totally empty. Now I can install those capacitors inside here, the new capacitors. So this is how it look like. No wonder it has no value at all. It couldn't read anything. It's too dry. You see how dry it is? So anyway, let me get rid of this, install the new one inside this canister. Alright, I put this capacitor back here. This is of course original container. I put a little glue over it. You see how shiny it is now? You can actually read it. I left this open this side, so if later on I want to replace it, it'll be much easier. I don't need to take everything out. Or whoever down the road want to fix this, they have a much easier access to them. The way I install that into chassis, let me show you. See, I use nuts and bolts in a state of a staple it like this. Use nuts and bolts so it'll be easier to remove. Alright? Let's get back under the chassis. A crazy thing is all other capacitor, this one and the other molded capacitor, they're in great range. Is a great value. I also test all these capacitors as well as the resistor, and they're in great range as well. It's amazing, this radio. Everything is in good range except, the multi-section capacitor that was totally dead, as you saw earlier. When you're working a radio, I highly suggest before installing the tubes back in the radio, clean the pen. Since this radio is sitting around for a long time, they get deoxidized. You see how they are? And if I don't clean this, put it in the radio, majority of time is going to come on and off because the pens are not clean. I'm going to share with you the process that I go through to make sure that they are clean. Especially this small tube, that they have 7 pens or smaller. All these connections are very small. If it get deoxidized, then it will not gonna work. I spent hours in this radio trying to figure out what was going on. Even I cleaned some of the tube, but not all of them. That was the biggest mistake. You always need to clean all of them. So I get usually the 600 or 400 3M. This is the dry and wet sandpaper, they call it. I'm going to add all this product that I'm using in description section, so it hopefully can help you out. Get a small piece of this, gently, you just hold it like this around it, like that, then gently do like this. Just gently, don't press it too much, you're going to bend them, and you don't want to do it too much. Okay, then I go between one by one underneath. Clean it again, don't take too much off, just enough to get rid of the oxidation. All of them, now they're clean. Then of course after that I get alcohol and cotton swab, then clean all the pens again. Get upside down like that so the alcohol does not get to the body, because if it gets there it might mess up all this detail about the tube. Try to clean one by one. Usually the older tube, it doesn't need this much attention. The smaller they are, the more time you need to spend to clean them. Alright. Next I'm going to get a product like this. Again, I'm going to add this in the description section. It's pretty important to do this because you don't want to get deoxidate again. That's what humanity does to these vacuum tubes, and the age as well when they sit around for a long time. Press this. Now I see a little bit. I go pen by pen, just a little bit, not that much. So just press this in. Not too much, just a little bit. Pen by pen. See that? So all of them, it has that. Again, you don't want to put too much. It's something like this. Inside there is a lot of like a cleaning tools here. See that? Different sizes. Okay, I selected the right size. Go inside here like that. Just a couple of times to clean the pen inside. You don't want to go too deep because you might hit some parts here. I'm going to do all the pens. Then I install this. Make sure to set all the way down. By doing this process, what you're doing really, you're protecting the tube pen so they don't get oxidized. I suggest very highly to do that. Otherwise, if you don't clean it, or if you don't clean it properly, you will have an issue. Hopefully this will help you as well. Alright, all the wires now connected. I looked at all the pictures that Gary sent me. Again, thank you so much for those pictures. It was really helpful. I could not do this without looking through those pictures. I hooked everything where they're supposed to be. This part was missing on mine, so I looked at the picture that he sent me, and I add the same type of capacitor here. Now everything is connected. I hope I got it all. You never know until you started, right? Also, looking through his pictures, these two wires are hooked up here. This is the first time I see in this radio that both sides there's a wire connected. Usually it's connected to just this side. But this radio is totally different. This radio making me crazy. Of course, these wires are going to hook up to an antenna, which I marked it here so I know. So look through everything here. It seems like all of them are connected, but again, you don't know until you hook up to electricity. So let me hook up the antenna and we're going to test this thing to see if it's going to work or not. Now let's talk about some safety issue. You're dealing with electricity. It's very dangerous. It can kill you, so be very careful, please. You need a few equipment that you can purchase it in Amazon. First one, you must have isolated transformer to keep you safe when you work in the antique radios. And also variac, you can actually adjust the amount of electricity comes inside the radio. And this one, the dim bulb tester, you can actually build this yourself. You can Google it. There's tons of information out there. This is the setup I'm using on my workbench. Please make sure you know to use this equipment to keep you safe. Alright, everything is connected. Of course, the antenna, as you see, is also connected. Let's start this to see if it's going to work or not. As you know, tube radio, it takes a few seconds to come up. No, it's not coming up. Darn. None of the lights are on the tubes. It's hard to see from the video, but nothing on at all. Darn it. After all this work. Oh man. I need to look at under the chassis with magnifying glass, use my multimeter to test all the other wires to make sure I haven't missed any others. Since someone cut all these wires, up to now 12 of them that I had to figure out with help of Gary with looking through all those pictures. It's frustrating, man. But guess what? I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep checking to figure these things out. So let me do some multimeter testing on this under the chassis. Darn. Alright, to do this test is very important. Unplug it from the wall for your safety. I put the multimeter on the sound. What I did, I went wire by wire to make sure there is connectivity. To give you example, this yellow wire right there, that starts from the volume switch, it goes to this tube. After testing it, there were no sound at all. That told me that that wire was cut. I looked at it under magnifying glass and I noticed that they cut it, but you couldn't tell without testing it. Now if I put one side multimeter here and other side other, you see, now there's a connection. Before there were no sound. I cannot believe the person cut all these wires. Let's hook it up to electricity and test it again. Hopefully that will solve the problem. I can't believe this. I never saw anything like this before. Especially you don't have a schematic, it's difficult. You have to go wire by wire. Man, even if you have a schematic, it's still, how are you going to tell if the wire was cut if it's not that obvious to see unless you test it? I guess I'm learning more working in this radio. Have you ever come across something like this? If you have, put it in the comment for me. I'd like to know. Alright, after now all this, let's see if this darn thing gonna work or not. Alright, it is on. All the vacuum tubes are on, but no sound at all. Nothing. Nothing is happening. Darn. I checked everything. Everything seems like it's connected. What is going on? Okay, I'm going to use the single tracer that I built. I'm going to put also here some information about it. I highly suggest to check it out. It's a fun project, and it's working very well. This is it. Let's now do some single tracing. The ground, I'm going to hook up to the chassis, anywhere in the chassis. Now we're ready to test. Let me turn these things on. See, it is on. The reason you hear all those noise because of fluorescent light, of course. All this highlighted, these are the pens that I'm going to test to see if you're receiving signals. We start from the beginning and go through, test all of them. Pen 1 in this tube, 12B E6, is hooked up directly to the antenna. So we're going to try this pen first to see if we're getting any signals. Now the trick is, when you're using this signal tracer, you have to adjust the tuning condenser to see if the antenna is working or not. Again, watch those two parts about the single tracer. I went through the total detail how this is work, all the way from antenna to the speaker. This is a single tracer can be used. Again, watch this video, it will explain it. I'm not going to go through that much detail to save some time. The only thing you need to remember, when using this single tracer, you have to adjust tuning condenser. You hear sound, otherwise it will not work. You're not going to hear the same station for the rest of the tube. This is just test the antenna to see if you're getting signals. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me show you what we do. So let's turn this up so you can hear it. Let's touch pen 1.
Yeah, and they were like, they didn't know what kind of movie it was. Yeah.
Okay, pen 1 is working. Let's try other pens. See, you don't hear anything. How about pen 5? Nothing. So the antenna is picking up the signal, but is not sending it through the rest. I test others and nothing is happening. Again, it picks up the antenna by adjusting the tuning condenser. That's how you hear the signals, but it's not going through anywhere else. Darn. Okay, let me pull my single injectors to inject to see after tube 1 to see how is the audio. Does it pick up audio or not? Let me show you how we're going to do that. Man, this radio is crazy. Alright, this is I call it single injectors. You can hook it up to Bluetooth and everything. Watch this video, it's really going to make your job much easier to track down where the issues are, where the problems are. So it's hooked up to regular radio. You can again hook it up to Bluetooth if you want to. You see the radio is working, alright? See, it's working. I don't want YouTube to kick me out, right? So we're going to hook up this to the chassis. And this one, since we want to inject signals into the radio, we're going to go right here in pen 2 of tubes 50C5. Let's see if we're going to get any signals. Alright, if we get signal, it means the audio section is fine. Let's check it out. With single tracer, that pen was not working. With this one, let's check it out. Wow, that is awesome. So what that really tells me, the rest of the radio is fine. All the audio section is fine. The reason I connect this quickly and remove it, I don't want YouTube kick me out. That's why I don't keep it here too long. Again, this is pen 2. Alright. We know the audio section is fine, so that's not the issue. The problem should be here. Before that, I need to figure out what's going on here. But watch these videos for these two tracers that I create. You know, it makes the job much easier. Otherwise, I have to spend hours and hours and hours. With this system, you know, quickly I can tell the audio section is fine or not. And that is, as you saw, it performed very well. When I inject signal from the regular radio, this is actually, I put it in an FM. You see, it's a FM. That actually is working. Let me try to figure out what's going on here. Alright, let me show you what's going on, what I found out. That is absolutely crazy. So use the multimeter and start checking the wires, you know, to see if any of them causing this issue. Remember, this section was not working, but the audio section was working. Okay, this is the wire. It comes from here, see that? To here, to the on and off switch. This one was cut right here. Of course, I soldered it back together. And you couldn't tell when I again used the multimeter and noticed that was cut as well. That is why the single tracer picked up the antenna, but it didn't pick up the rest. That is crazy. All right, let's turn it on again to see if it works or not. This video has been so challenging, but I like the challenge. You see, that's how you learn. You know, if you just need to change capacitors, you know, you're not learning that much, right? But when you have to troubleshoot, that is where you learn the most. So every radio give me so much challenge, I learn from it, believe it or not, through the process. Because you have to go through everything, you know, to figure it out. And you have to think about it, you know, don't give up and keep going, keep testing. And you will figure it out. You will figure it out. Just it will take time. So let's test it to see if it works or not, all right? Hopefully that was the last issue with this. All right, everything hooked up. I hooked it up to antenna. I guess this is belong to this radio. Since I bought it so many years ago, I took it apart. I was looking everywhere. Finally, I think this is it. All right, as I mentioned, this is already hooked up to oscillation transformer as well as variac. So we're going to get it started. Hopefully it will work. Let's see. So we're going to turn it on. First thing we look at to see if any light comes on the tube. Yes, you see it comes on. Don't know if you can see it or not. Let's also hook up outside antenna. Since this radio just has one transformer, it doesn't have a good reception. So this is outside antenna. It's about maybe 10 feet long or so. I'm gonna hook it up. Let's see right here. Let me turn this thing down. All right. The radio is working. Unbelievable. It's working. I'm so happy, man. You see it? Isn't it awesome? Of course, the sound is not that well because the fluorescent light is on. You hear some hissing sound, and also the speaker had this cover over it. Man, I'm so excited. Some stations are too loud. Man, I'm so happy about this. A few times I said, you know, man, I don't know if I can figure these things out or not, because 14 wires was cut and some part was not even there. Again, Gary, thank you so much for sending me all those pictures. Without your help, there was no way I could fix this. Those pictures of your radio really helped me out. You know, I had to figure out all the cut area. I don't know why the person cut this. I think the reason they cut it, the radio stopped working. Then they cut everything under the sun. But it's working, man. That is exciting. I will stop here to keep this video from getting too long. In the next episode, we will repair the badly damaged earphone, fabricate a replacement holding piece, and add Bluetooth capability so we can listen to the music of our choice. So stay tuned for upcoming video. At this time, I want to take the opportunity and thank my subscribers with their uplifting comments. You always encourage me to upload more videos, since this is just a hobby of mine. Again, I appreciate you. Enjoy all these videos, and you all have an awesome day. Take care. If you're interested to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe to my channel, and you will be notified when a new video being uploaded. You have a great day.